Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. Now in this video I want us to examine a chilling prophecy made by Celestial that's seemingly coming to pass. In a video, she forewarned of a series of catastrophic plane crashes, including collisions with stationary objects, other planes, and even crashes caused by air traffic controllers' errors, particularly in adverse weather conditions. Now, her prophecy specifically mentioned air controllers making critical mistakes, such as clearing planes for takeoff on the same runway at the same time, leading to devastating consequences. Unfortunately, recent events suggest that her warnings are becoming a harsh reality. Now, just days ago, I posted a video where I was talking about a horrific collision between two planes, resulting in tragic losses. The incident sparked heated debates, with some like Trump blaming DEI and Joe Biden for the crash. Now, another alarming incident has unfolded in Philadelphia, leaving us to ponder the validity of Celestial's prophecy. So with that said, let's take a look at her prophecy. I will be right back.
But I mean, given later, but I saw that there will be a lot of plane crashes. Planes will crash on the runway itself. Planes will crash into stationary objects, and they will also crash with other planes, especially in rainy and foggy conditions. Horrible mishaps are going to be made by air traffic controllers to the point that when planes are cleared for takeoff, they will be cleared for takeoff on the same runway at the same time. And the air traffic controllers will not note the proper takeoff order, and it will result in a tragic event. Excuse me, please. The Lord said that we will see fireballs on the runway. So this is literally two planes smashing into each other nose to nose, one plane smashing into the side, caving in the side, windows falling in, and then boom. We will see fireballs on the runway. We will see fireballs in the sky too, as planes blow up from technical problems or catch fire soon after takeoff, or when they've gained some altitude. They're just going to have some kind of technical mishap, and we're just going to see that entire thing exploding as it's in the ascent, or when it's climbed up and it's leveled off, and then you see it higher up in the sky. And God says that some planes will catch fire and have to come down again, and only some of them will be successful in catching fire, and the pilot may be managing to turn the thing around or quickly bring it down. He says that some of them will unsuccessfully come down because of the fire when they catch fire, and it's going to result in very terrible tragedies that will be all over the news. And so if I can give the sense of what I saw happening, there's going to be something that will start happening, people, and you need to be very careful. And I've already been telling my intercessors this for quite some time. Whatever you do now, you need to check it and double check it. You need to check it and double check it, because when I say this, it will sound like, oh, it may sound spooky and kooky, but it's not. There is spiritual activity going on that may be done with hands that we can't see, little hands touching things that we can't see, or the mischief of the devil himself. But whatever you do from now on, check it and double check it. Lock your car, don't walk away. You're going to start experiencing phenomena like this. You'll click it and the car will say tweet tweet, but it will not lock. You'll have valuables in that car. The car will make the sound that promises you, I've locked the way I always have locked in the past. Something will prevent that thing from locking. And no, it's not for those who always are looking to gainsay what I say, to overturn what the Lord is saying. For those who are always, because their minds are carnal and they are fleshly, and so the things of the spirit, they cannot hold it. It just leaks out of their ears like water. So everything has to have a natural explanation to them. Not so. There's going to be interferences, because the veil between our world, and I'm going to use the right side, we as humans, we have the right to be here on earth. So the right side is for us. There will be interferences from the other side, because the separating veil between the two sides is getting thinner and thinner. You put something on the table, you'll know you put it there, it's not going to be there, and you have no children and you live alone. You lock your car, it's not going to lock, and then you're going to suffer a loss. Your paycheck is going to be in there. Something you just bought is going to be in there, and it's going to go missing. This is what was happening to the air traffic controllers. They looked and they saw numbers and they read and they calculated and they said runway 5 and runway 1 are far enough apart. You guys can literally run parallel at the same time. But something was making them read it wrong. Something was making them read it wrong, and they were literally scheduling runway 1 and runway 5 like this on a collision course instead of running parallel where they could both take off with enough space and not hit each other. They were making terrible, tragic mistakes after 20, 30, 40-year careers. They were not drunk. They were not sleepy. They were not distracted. They were not on their phones. They were locked into their jobs. They looked at the monitors. They read a certain set of numbers, and then they went Delta 99 and Delta 43, and they gave information. And then it was wrong. It was inexplicably wrong. They could not explain how it got the way it got, because now when it came time for the investigation, it was the way it was after it had gone wrong, but it was not that way when these men and these women looked at it in the beginning. And yet, who is going to believe them? The tragedy had happened. The planes will smash. The planes will crash. The planes will literally go into one of the stationary objects that I saw was those stairs. You know, the stairs that they put and we go up, and then they're supposed to take the stairs away and stow them away somewhere. For some unbelievable reason, I saw planes going at top speed, and then suddenly the stairs were there and they just went into the stairs and smashed, and the whole front just caught fire like that. And a lot of accidents also happened in rainy conditions. In rainy conditions is when the mischief was high. And foggy conditions also, horrible mishaps that God was saying, similar runways and at similar times, and without noting the proper takeoff order. And that's how we'll be seeing fireballs on the runway, fireballs in the sky, huge headlines, huge headlines. I've been having this feeling for a while that flight, the missing one is going to happen again, the one that goes missing, and you'll hear more about that kind of thing here in this prophecy. And so I was sleeping. That was the first dream, seeing these different clips. And then I had another dream, and the perspective was that a plane had already had some kind of horrible event in the sky, and I was seeing it from the perspective. I didn't see myself, but I was just looking, and the Lord was just basically directing the camera, the lens of the dream, how he wants. And I saw the entire side of a plane had been ripped out. It literally looked like a big hand had torn a whole chunk off the side of this large airliner. And you know, planes are made of some strange material. When they rip off at those high temperatures, there's all these little stringy bits that look like when you rip jeans. There's all these little stringy white bits that are all around the side of the plane. I did not know that they did that, but I saw that in the dream. The entire side had ripped off, and people's seats were sucked out in midair. So please hear this. Not only did a side of the plane fly off, but whoever had made this plane did not bother to bolt the seats good enough. I guess they thought that air pressure was going to help them. The seats ripped out and went off with the side. So after the hole was ripped, and I had seen those flyaway edges of the torn plane body come when the thing came off, when the weakened panel of the plane came off, I couldn't hear any sound. And I think that is a blessing, because right after that thing flew away, just maybe 20 to 30 seconds more, a whole bank of people still strapped to their seats, all their neck bent like this, all their necks were bent severely at one angle, hair blowing, and their whole body bent under severe air pressure. I saw all of them come hurtling out with their mouths in a large, horrified O, all of them. And as soon as they came flying out horizontally, they plummeted through the cloud cover. And I'm very grateful that the eye of the dream, the eye did not follow them down there. I just saw the hole, observed the little stringy bits, and then 20 seconds later, people flew past me, silent screams, and they came out like this and then just plunged down below. And then right after that, I saw the plane, because of the steep loss of air pressure in the cabin, the plane began to shake and shudder like a leaf in a high wind. And then the plane itself began plunging down like an unlucky bird that had been completely stunned by a rock.
Now, according to news sources, top U.S. officials said the military helicopter that collided with a passenger jet over the Potomac River on Wednesday was on a training mission for evacuating members of government in the event of a catastrophe or attack. Now, the U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth told Fox News that the helicopter was performing a continuity of government drill designed to help pilots rehearse in ways that would reflect a real-world scenario. Hegseth declined to go further, saying he didn't want to get into anything that's classified. Now, the UH-60 Black Hawk Helicopters Unit, the 12th Aviation Battalion, is assigned a mission to evacuate top U.S. officials from Washington, D.C. to secure locations in the event of an emergency. And those locations include Raven Rock Mountain, a facility in Pennsylvania constructed in the 1950s for use as a command center in the event of a nuclear war. Now, Hegseth's comments correlates with comments by Jonathan Kozio, Chief of Staff for the Army's Aviation Directorate, who told reporters on Thursday that some of their mission is to support the Department of Defense if something really bad happens in this area, and we need to move our senior leaders. They do need to be able to understand the environment, the air traffic, the routes, to ensure the safe travel of our senior leaders throughout our government, he added. Now, a preliminary FAA report into the mid-air collision has found that responsibility for handling air traffic control for helicopters and incoming planes at Reagan National Airport had been combined earlier than usual on Wednesday night when the American Airlines flight crashed into the Army's Black Hawk helicopter. All 67 aboard the aircraft involved were unalived, marking the deadliest American aviation crash in 16 years. Typically, responsibility for handling helicopters and planes are separated in the busy airspace from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m., the New York Times reported. After 9:30 p.m., when traffic slows down, the duties can be combined. The collision occurred soon before 9 p.m. Now, the FAA preliminary safety report found that staffing at the airport was not normal for the time of day and volume of traffic, the Associated Press reported. Staffing targets set by the FAA and the Controllers Union call for 30 air traffic controllers at the airport, but as of September 2023, it had 19. Now, President Trump signed a presidential memorandum on aviation safety on Thursday, which he said will undo damage done to federal agencies by the Biden administration. Trump has said incompetence may have played a role in the crash. Less than 30 seconds before the helicopter and plane collided, an air traffic controller asked the helicopter if it had the plane in sight. Do you have the CRJ inside? The controller makes another radio call to PAT 25 moments later. Now, PAT 25 passed behind the CRJ, referring to the Canadian-made Bombardier CRJ 700. But there is mounting speculation that the helicopter's pilots may have been looking at the plane following behind the American Airlines flights in the landing queue. Questions are also being asked about the altitude of the helicopter. It was cleared to fly at 200 feet but appears to have ascended to 400 feet and into the path of the airliner. Now, this is the same air crash that made President Trump on Thursday to variously point the finger at the helicopter's pilot, air traffic control, his predecessor Joe Biden, and other Democrats, including former Transportation Secretary, whom he labeled a disaster. Now, we all know that the cause of the crash is still unknown. Authorities are investigating and have not publicly identified the cause or said who might have been responsible for the collision of an American Airlines plane and a U.S. Army helicopter. And reporters on Thursday challenged Trump's claims. And now we're hearing of another plane crash soon after takeoff in Philadelphia, which happened on Friday with a child and 5 others on board. The air ambulance company that operated it said, adding that it had not confirmed any survivors. Now, Jet Rescue Air Ambulance, based in Mexico and licensed to operate in the U.S., said its aircraft crashed with 4 crew members, pediatric medical patient, and the patient's mother on board. At this time, we cannot confirm any survivors, the company said in a statement. Now, state and local officials said late on Friday they could not yet confirm how many people may have gotten unalived on the ground after the plane slammed into a heavily populated portion of the city. Videos taken by witnesses of the crash clearly showed body parts strewn about the streets and inside nearby homes. Now, the Mexican government said all those on the plane were Mexican nationals. CNN reported the child was a girl on her way home with a final destination of Tijuana. Shy Gold, who works on corporate strategy with Jet Rescue Air Ambulance, told CNN. Her mother was also aboard, he said. We're terribly shocked by this tragic turn of events, God said. This was a very seasoned crew. We're a leading air ambulance company. We fly 600 to 700 times a year. Now, he said the company had investigated heavily in maintaining its aircraft to the highest international standards and that the plane that crashed had been in excellent flying condition. We really don't know what happened, God said. Honestly, the recent surge in plane crashes is sending shockwaves around the world, and for many, it's a reminder of the ominous prophecy made by Celestial. Her warning of catastrophic plane crashes, including collisions and errors by air traffic controllers, is eerily echoing the events unfolding before our eyes. From the devastating collision of two planes to the latest incident in Philadelphia, the similarities between these tragedies and Celestial's prophecy are uncanny. It's as if her words are being brought to life and the consequences are heart-wrenching. Now, while some may dismiss this as mere coincidence, others are taking notice of the alarming pattern. The sheer frequency and severity of these incidents suggests that something more sinister is at play. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do you viewers have to say? Share your thoughts, your contributions as well in the comment section. Thank you for always watching and see you in our next videos. We bring you another interesting video.